We're gonna talk about generating ideas for your e-commerce store, and I'm gonna tell you guys a strategy that I usually suggest to my own clients for mod and to my friends in the e-commerce space. I call this the niche-based strategy. So essentially what this means is anytime you're starting an e-commerce store, e-commerce brand, it's best to start off with a niche. So what is a niche exactly? So a niche is a concept, an idea, a hobby, an interest that people already know and a lot of people already resonate with. Examples of niche are mental health, empowering women, empowering men, anime is a niche, NBA is a niche, entrepreneurship is a niche, making money online, internet memes. So these are all like pets, cars. So these are all examples of niches. So I personally believe it's a lot easier when building an e-commerce brand to start off with a strong niche. So the reason for this is when you create a brand around a niche, the people who already resonate with that concept, idea, or that interest, mas madali for them to kind of look into your brand and to be interested in your brand because they're already interested in the niche or they're already interested in the interest or concept that your brand is built around. So yun lang naman, that's the basic fundamental logic of why you start with a niche when creating your e-commerce business. We'll go through a couple of examples of some brands who have a strong niche, both local and international. So the first brand that has a strong niche and makes a lot of sales is the brand called ETQT or Etiqueta. Ang niche nila specifically, it's all about anime. They're mixing anime and a little bit of streetwear, pero they're mostly all about anime. Last time I checked, this brand was making like 3 to 4 million per month just on their e-commerce channel. They also sell through distributors and resellers, so really strong brand. I think they've expanded a bit out of the anime niche with a little bit of Simpsons, some parody Simpsons and the Beatles. A good brand then with a very strong niche at the Get-A-Co. Let's look at some international examples. So Malbon Golf, founder of this is a Filipino. Half Filipino, Phil-Am siya. Again, a very strong niche. So it kind of mixes golf and streetwear. I don't play golf, pero I like this brand. I fuck with it. Super nice visuals, super nice creative as well. Malbon. So a non-apparel example naman of the niche-based strategy is this brand called Cadence. I think a drink. It's not local, it's international. So fuel for daily discipline. So yung niche nila, it's all about daily discipline. It's all about parang improving yourself, making yourself physically better. So it's all about athletics. This is a good example also of the niche-based strategy. So that's the overall concept naman of why you should start off with a strong niche when creating an e-commerce store. How do you use this niche-based strategy to actually create an e-commerce brand? So I prepared a framework for you guys with an output at the end of it. So the goal here is by the end of this activity, by the end of you using this framework, you would already have at least a few ideas of what niches you could go into and what types of products to sell for these specific niches. No? So I've already repopulated the spreadsheet with some niche ideas. So we'll run through lang where to get these niche ideas. So some tools I've also listed here. Source for ideas, you have Google Trends, YouTube Explore, Calo data for TikTok data, Shopee data, Gummy Search, which searches Reddit forums, Reddit subreddits, etc. And also, of course, AI chatbots. So you can ask ChatGPT, Gemini to do the research for you or to suggest niche ideas for you as well. No? So let's go through some of these sources for ideas. So let's start with Google Trends, particularly the Explore page. So Philippines past 12 months. So Olympic Games. Actually, dito ko nakuha yung Olympic Games na niche idea. And then another idea na I got here is slot machine. Kasi alam ko a lot of people do online gambling here in the Philippines. It's a fairly big niche. Not the best niche, but I know that it is big, especially with brands, with companies like Bingo Plus. Even that, parang yung Sabong brand, alam ko it's doing like a couple of billion per year in revenue after like ilang months pa lang. AI is also a huge niche here in the Philippines. ChatGPT is one of the breakout topic here in Google Trends. Gemini AI also appears here, Humanize AI. So very interesting. Brief explainer lang of how Google Trends works. So it aggregates all search data. So essentially, Google Trends answers the question, what are people searching for on Google? So yun lang naman siya. Next source is YouTube, the YouTube Explore page. So ayan. So you can also look at videos on YouTube's trending page to get ideas of what niches have some potential. So a lot of memes, culture, memes. NBA, I think nanggaling ko to sa Google Trends data. Another thing na nakuha ko from the YouTube Explore page is influencers. So influencer cultures, Team Payaman, Kong TV, Alex Gonzaga also appears here. So maybe creating merch for influencers. Could be a niche, so something to explore. Pets. Another one is Calo Data. Calo Data, it's all data from TikTok Shop. Shows you top selling items, top selling brands. So ito nakuha ko dito is pets. Pets is a huge niche. So Petwell, estimated revenue for this shop is 462 million. It's pretty crazy. Lots of pet owners here in the Philippines. Another niche is entrepreneurship. So this one I didn't get from a particular source. Honestly, I got this from AI. There's data that backs this up naman na this is a strong niche. So data from Go Negosyo actually says that 80% of Pinoys want to start their own business. And another research by BCG, or the Boston Consulting Group, says that I think the number 1 or number 2, very close number 2 dream of most Pinoys is to have their own business. So entrepreneurship is a huge niche in the Philippines as well. Wellness is also another niche that you can explore. So ito, CEO of Pampaputi, beauty and wellness. You can kind of combine those two as well, beauty and wellness / wellness. I also asked ChatGPT for some niche ideas. So, ang nakuha ko dito is K-pop and motorcycles. These are all strong niches. So how do you use the idea generation and validation framework? So this framework is based on the 3 C's framework, I think from McKinsey. The 3 C's are company, customers, and competitors. So of course, we're gonna tweak it a bit since wala naman tayong company. Company is yourself or your team. Customers is the market. And competitors, of course, are your competitors as well. How do you use this framework? So once you have your list of niche ideas, you then judge each niche idea, you rate them on how strong the affinity is or how big the opportunity is per criteria. So for example, for company or yourself, I call this the founder fit. You rate each niche idea from 1 to 5 based on how interested you are on this specific idea. For market size naman, you also rate it from 1 to 5 based on how big you think this market is, ideally based on data or research. And then competitiveness, this is also a rating from 1 to 5, 1 being super competitive, 5 being there's no competition. So yun, if there's an existing brand in this space, medyo magiging mas mababa yung competitiveness score. And then once you have the rating for each of these parang variables, you get the average to give you the overall rating. And from there, that's where you decide what is the best niche to go into. So for Olympic Games, if I would rate this from 1 to 5 for myself, I'd probably give it a 3, maybe a 4. Kasi why? So I am into sports, pero I'm not the biggest fan of, I'm a fan of the Olympics when it's showing, pero I don't know too much about it. Actually, I'll probably put it as a 3. Right, so online gambling, I'll put that as a 1 because I don't do online gambling. AI, I'll put that as a 5. Very interested in AI. NBA, sakto lang. I know some players. I don't really watch it that often. I watch it with a couple of friends, pero me by myself don't really watch it. Internet culture, memes, I'll put that as a 5 as well, since I am very much always online. I consume a lot of social media content, internet culture content, so I feel like I'm tuned to internet culture in the Philippines. Actually, you know what? Let me put this as 4 kasi I might not be that in tune with the internet culture broadly in the Philippines now. Influencer merch, I put us at 2. I do have some influencer friends, pero not enough for me to actually reach out and create a merch brand with them. Pets, I don't have a pet, but I do want a pet in the future, pero I'll probably put this as a, maybe like a 3. For pets, entrepreneurship, I'll put that as a 5, obviously. It's one of the things that I'm mainly interested in. Beauty and wellness, I'm interested in wellness. Probably put it as a 4. Pretty big on fitness and wellness as well, longevity, stuff like that. K-pop, not interested in that at all. Motorcycles, not interested in that at all, since I do not own or know how to ride a motorcycle at all. Next, we'll go into market size. Okay, so for market size, this is a little bit trickier. Research on. So ideally, you'd research mostly through Google Trends, maybe some Shopee data. Maybe you can also use AI to kind of measure this. But essentially, the question that you're trying to answer here is, how many people in the Philippines are interested in the Olympic Games? How many people are interested in online gambling, etc., etc.? So for now, para hindi tayo masyadong matagal, I'll go through rating the market size of these different niche ideas based on what I know personally lang, based on previous information. So Olympic Games, I put the market size for this as 3. When it's the Olympics, it's huge. Pero considering na walang Olympics ngayon, it's a lot smaller. Online gambling in terms of market size, it's also very huge. There are a lot of online gamblers. Pero as an e-commerce niche, honestly, I'd put this as a 3 kasi I don't imagine people buying any e-commerce product related to online gambling. AI market size is 4. Lots of people are very much interested in AI. In fact, I'm pretty sure that we rank number 1 in terms of AI interest. NBA, this is gonna be a 4 also. Lots of NBA fans here in the Philippines. Basketball is probably the number 1 sport. Internet culture memes, I'll put this as a 5 kasi the Philippines is the number 1 social media capital in the Philippines. So lots of people are interested or look at like memes and stuff. Influencer merch, put this as a 2 for market size. So my reason for this is because I do know a couple influencers or celebrities who've made brands that haven't really been that successful. So an example of this is gonna be in Juju Club by Julia Barreto. Looking at their Shopee data, mukhang hindi ganun kalaki yung revenues nila. I think they're probably just doing 100, maybe 150 in terms of volume per month. An average price of 700, like 70k, maybe 100k on a good month. So I put a 2 for market size for influencer merch. Pets is also fairly big. I'll put that as a 4, considering that there are a lot of pet lovers here in the Philippines. Entrepreneurship, I'll put that as a 4 as well, considering that I do know that 80% of people want to be entrepreneurs. So yeah, I'll put that as a 4. Beauty and wellness, I'll put this as a 3. Like, people are interested in it, definitely. Market size, actually, you know what? I can put this as a 4. Market size of wellness is pretty big in the Philippines. K-pop, I'll put it at a 3, maybe a 4. Kasi I do know that there are a lot of people who are interested in K-pop. But I'm not sure how big this market is particularly, no. So for motorcycle/rider culture, also fairly big. There is an existing brand called Imprint Customs. I'll put it as a 4 as well. So there is an existing brand in this niche that is fairly big as well. So the last column that we have to fill out and the last variable is the competitiveness. So again, I'll just run through this based on what I know, based on previous data. Pero for you guys, it's much better if you actually research through the sources that I mentioned earlier. So Google Trends, YouTube, Calo Data, etc. Competitiveness ng Olympic Games, I put this as a 2. Considering that they're para medyo borderline athletics. So Nike and Adidas starts to become a competitor. So I'll put a lower grade for this one. Online gambling, competitiveness, I'll put this as 3, maybe. I don't think there's anybody who sells an e-commerce product related to gambling. I don't think that's good. So yeah, I'll put it as a 3. AI, actually, ang interesting dito, if you check AI on Shopee, ang makita mong products are people reselling ChatGPT subscriptions. So I would say competitiveness is fairly high, maybe a 3. NBA, marami na ring NBA brands. So I'll put that as a 2. Maraming brands NBA has a brand here in the Philippines that sell merch. Internet culture and memes, there are yung etiketa, medyo meron silang meme type of brands. Linya Linya is also another example. T-culture also another example. So it's a little bit more competitive, but it has a 3. Although ang maganda kasi sa internet culture and memes is a very broad niche. So there are potential to kind of sub-niche or find other pockets that might. So I'll put this as a 4. Put it as a 4. Influencer merch, no one is doing that. Pero basically, ang kakompetensya mo dito is the influencer themselves. So unless you have a really strong relationship with multiple influencers, it's gonna be fairly hard to get into. Put this as a 2. Pets, lots of competition, 2. Lots of competition sa pets, definitely. Entrepreneurship, in terms of sa e-commerce space, ang pinaka-competition mo dito is the people selling courses. I would say competitiveness, maybe, I'll put this as a 3. 3 siguro, no? That's fair. Wellness is highly competitive. I'll put this as a 2. Honestly, probably put this as a 2, yeah. It's very competitive. K-pop, you do have existing competition. I'll put this as a 3. And then motorcycle riding culture, you do have an existing competitor as well. I put this as a 2. They're pretty big kasi. Once you're able to fill out all the variables, the next thing to do is to kind of see which ones have the highest rating or have the highest score. So for me, that's gonna be internet culture, memes, AI, and entrepreneurship. Alright, so that's interesting, no? So now, ang gagawin ko na lang is I'm gonna start researching e-commerce ideas or e-commerce products that I can sell in this particular niche, no? So yeah, that's pretty much it for how to do and how to use the idea generation and validation framework.